Revealed, how a heartwarming leap into a stranger's arms led to an unexpected, life-changing love. Sarah's heart raced, the sun kissed her skin while Lily's laughter filled the air. It was a moment of serenity amidst the chaos of juggling 2 jobs and the weight of financial burdens. As a busy single mother, those precious afternoons at the park felt like a rare gift. This little patch of grass, echoing with the joy of children, was the only place Sarah could breathe. But in the blink of an eye, chaos erupted. A giggle, sweet and innocent, turned into a piercing alarm when another toddler broke free from his mother, zipping toward the street like a mischievous firefly. Without thinking, Sarah sprinted forward, adrenaline surging, her instincts blazing. Just as the child approached danger, she swooped in, snatching him back from the brink. But she didn't stop there. Her momentum carried her straight into the warm embrace of a stranger. Alex. Fresh from serving overseas, he was all rugged charm and bittersweet resolve. Their eyes locked, and for a fleeting second, the world melted away. But the moment was only the beginning of chaotic twists to come. "Wow, that was amazing," he said, flashing a grin that made Sarah's heart skip a beat. There, amid gasps from onlookers, she felt an unexpected pulse of connection. News of their encounter spread rapidly, and whispers trailed behind them like shadows. Some said he was a drifter, others recounted tales of his past. Could a man like Alex be a stable presence in her chaotic life? Days turned into weeks, the annual festival fast approaching, and tension hung heavy in the air. Sarah's friends reminded her loyalty to the town, the traditions that defined good motherhood, loyalty buried deep in her heart just like her mother taught her. Amidst this, Lily's school raised funds for crucial projects. A tight budget meant sacrifices, and Sarah wrestled with what it meant to be a good mom. Then there was Alex, bright-eyed and hopeful, waiting at the edge of her life. Sarah saw in him what could be a heartbeat of change in the relentless rhythm of her routine. But could she risk the judgment of her neighbors? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The festival burst to life with vibrant colors, but underneath, Sarah felt a simmering storm. Joyful laughter contrasted with the pressure she felt to conform. As she moved through the crowd, memories of huddling with Lily, sharing dreams under the stars, painted the path she once believed in. Would stepping into the unknown with Alex mean losing it all? Then, a serious crisis hit. Her small business, her lifeline, faced a financial meltdown. Panic surged within her, tightening her chest. Just when she felt on the brink of collapse, Alex stepped forward, determined to help her pull through. It was an unexpected gesture, breaking the chains of judgment around them. Was this a leap of faith she could make? With the festival's fireworks illuminating the night sky, Sarah's heart raced with uncertainty. Could she embrace the love that had unexpectedly leaped into her life or remain shackled to her community's expectations? The answer hung delicately in the air, just waiting to be discovered. The festival's atmosphere crackled with energy, fireworks bursting overhead like colorful blooms against the night sky. Yet amid the bright lights and cheerful chatter, Sarah felt only a numbing weight. She scanned the crowd, searching for Alex, but doubt tangled her thoughts, making it hard to breathe. "Hey, Sarah!" he called out, and there he was, weaving through the throng with that contagious smile of his. He looked so alive, so free. It made her heart ache. She wanted to close the gap, to let herself fall into the moment, but layers of a lifetime's fear held her back. "Are you okay?" he asked, concern flickering in his eyes when he reached her. I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. The honesty of those words felt like both a relief and a weight. "Things have been kind of insane lately." "Seems that way," he chuckled lightly, though his gaze was steady. "But you saved that kid today." "I just did what any person would do." "Not everyone would." He stepped closer, the laughter around them fading into an intimate cocoon. "I think you're brave, Sarah. I admire that." Her heart lifted, but then the voices of her neighbors echoed in her mind, judgment wrapped in sweet smiles, their opinions weighing heavily on her heart. Would they ever accept a wayward soul like Alex? Could she allow herself to be swept up in something new, something uncertain, when so much was at stake? What if I can't live up to their expectations? She spoke the thought aloud, bitterness edging her words. What if I fail? Alex held her gaze a beat longer, his expression softening. "You're not a failure. You're doing the best you can, pushing through all the noise. Don't let anyone else's view of your journey define you." Sarah felt a spark within her, a flicker of hope desperately seeking to break free. Then a scream sliced through the laughter around them. Sarah's instincts jolted, adrenaline like fire in her veins as she turned. A little boy had toppled over, crying loudly after bumping into a table filled with food. Instinctively, she started to rush toward him, but Alex grabbed her arm gently. "Let me," he said, moving toward the child with a calm assurance. He knelt beside the boy, speaking softly, his large, reassuring frame contrasting against the tiny figure sobbing on the ground. Sarah watched him work his magic, his kindness palpable, and in that moment, something shifted within her. He was right. It had to be about her own definition of who she was, not the expectations of the town or the weight of responsibility pulling her under. When Alex returned, he searched her eyes, as if sensing the change within her. "I'm here for you, Sarah. Trust me." Could she trust him? Could she trust herself? Her breaths were deep and uneven, mixing anticipation with fear. "Okay," she finally said, voice trembling. "Let us take this leap together." As the fireworks exploded in brilliant patterns overhead, their hands intertwined, and in that brief touch, a new current surged through her. What awaited them on this unpredictable path they would forge together? Just as the thought settled in her mind, a shadow cast over them, and a rigid figure stepped forward. "Sarah. You're needed." The voice belonged to her neighbor, Clara, clad in disapproval. What would she say next? And would Sarah's decision to leap toward the unknown hold up against the scrutiny of her community? As Clara's eyes narrowed, the air grew thick with tension. Sarah felt Alex's hand tighten around hers, grounding her in this battle of hearts. Would her courage hold against the storm about to unfold? Clara's presence loomed like an unwanted storm cloud, dampening the vibrant colors of the festival around them. Sarah could feel the tide of judgment beginning to swell, threatening to pull her under. Clara's disapproving glare pierced through the cheerful ambience, a stark contrast to the sounds of laughter and joy that had once felt so inviting. "What are you doing, Sarah?" Clara's voice cut through the noise, sharp and clear. "You can't associate with him." The disdain in her voice was unmistakable, and it left a bitter taste in Sarah's mouth. "Why not?" Alex interjected, his voice steady, but tinged with an undercurrent of defensiveness. "Sarah deserves to make her own choices." Clara's eyes widened, shock and indignation battling for dominance. "This isn't just about you, Alex. You don't belong here. You forget that people talk. They see you. There are consequences for her actions." The weight of Clara's words sank deep, each one like a pebble tossed into a still pond, creating ripples that could spread far and wide. Sarah felt her resolve begin to waver, uncertainty creeping back in. Would Alex's presence indeed lead to fallout? Could she really withstand the scrutiny? "Look," Alex said, taking a step forward. "I understand the concern, but you can't keep Sarah in a box forever. She needs to make her own mistakes, to figure things out for herself." Clara shook her head, her stance unyielding. "And what if it's a mistake that costs her everything?" In that charged moment, Sarah felt her heart racing. She glanced between Clara and Alex, both so steadfast in their beliefs. Clara's world was safe, predictable, everything she had ever known. But Alex, he stood for something different, something she longed for. Maybe I need to take the risk, Sarah finally found her voice. Maybe this mistake is the only way I'll learn who I really am. Clara's expression faltered for just a moment, a flicker of surprise passing through her eyes. But as quickly as it appeared, it was replaced by a hardened resolve. You're making a big mistake, Sarah. I just hope you don't regret this. As Clara turned to walk away, a cold silence fell between them, the laughter of the festival now feeling distant, replaced with the echo of Clara's parting words. The pressure of expectation loomed, yet Sarah felt a flicker of defiance ignite inside her. Sarah, Alex said softly, his presence a warm blanket against the chill of doubt. You don't have to let her words define your path. A part of her longed to step back, to hide from the firestorm that was brewing. But another part, a stronger part, wanted to break free and discover what lay on the other side of her fears. The fireworks overhead exploded in vivid hues, casting light on their entangled hands, and in that moment, she realized it wasn't just about Alex, it was about her too. Let us go, Sarah said, her voice clearer now. Let us enjoy this night. With Alex by her side, she stepped away from the boundaries clearly defined by her neighbor. They began to walk, leaving Clara's criticism behind. Sarah's heart raced not with dread this time, but with the adrenaline of possibility. As the weight lifted, a new worry crept in. What would her friends and family think? Could she really navigate this uncharted territory, especially in a town where everyone had an opinion? Do you think they'll really accept us? She turned to Alex, the question hanging between them as they moved farther into the crowd. His smile widened, a ray of hope in the uncertainty. Just be yourself. That's all that matters. As they melted into the joyous throng, vibrant laughter and music enveloping them, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling, the leap they had taken together was only the beginning. But would they withstand the currents of unyielding opinions, or would their connection be washed away by the tide? What awaited them in the waves of acceptance and doubt that loomed on the horizon? The festival buzzed around them, lights flickering like stars as the scent of cotton candy and popcorn swirled through the air. Sarah fought back the tension gathering in her chest. The echoes of Clara's warnings haunted her, but she clung to Alex's soothing presence, drawing strength from him. Let us find something fun to do, he suggested, his enthusiasm brightening the heaviness in her heart. Like what? She asked, unsure if she was ready to dive into every spectacle just yet. But she felt a spark of excitement. Alex's energy was contagious. Come on. There's that giant slide over there. He pointed, his eagerness evident. Sarah followed the direction of his finger. A massive inflatable slide towered above them, kids shrieking in delight as they climbed up and zipped down. The sight made her smile. Okay, why not? Hand in hand, they started walking towards the slide. With each step, Sarah could feel Clara's voice receding, drowned out by the laughter of children and the rhythmic thump of a nearby band. She had made her choice, and there was a thrilling power in it. They reached the base of the slide, and Alex grinned at her, his eyes sparkling with mischief. I bet you can't beat me to the top. Is that a challenge? Sarah raised an eyebrow, feeling competitive. Absolutely. He took off, sprinting toward the steps leading to the slide's summit. Sarah followed, her laughter escaping her lips as they raced up together. At the top, the view was breathtaking. The festival stretched out below them, a tapestry of color and light. Sarah's heart raced not from the climb, but from a realization that hit her, heavy and electric. Here, with Alex, she felt alive and bold. She looked out over the crowd, and for the first time, fear had less control. Ready? Alex shouted, a grin plastered across his face. Before she could question whether she truly was ready, he grabbed her hand, and they both plummeted down the slide. The world turned upside down, the wind rushing against her face, laughter bubbling up from deep inside. They landed with a joyful thud on the soft grass, both of them breathless and grinning like they'd just won the lottery. That was amazing. Sarah gasped, her heart still racing but now from exhilaration. See? Sometimes the leap is worth it, he said, brushing off his pants and reaching out a hand to help her up. As they stood together, in the midst of joy, Sarah noticed a few people from town glancing their way. Their whispers hovered in the air like specters, but this time, they didn't feel so stifling. Maybe it's not just about what they think, Sarah mused, a newfound sense of purpose lacing her words. It's about us, right? Exactly, Alex replied with a nod. We're writing our own story. But even as she savored the moment, a familiar face emerged through the crowd, one she knew all too well. Clara stood there, eyes narrowed, expression a mix of disbelief and anger. Sarah's heart thudded heavy against her ribs. The warmth of the evening began to dim as the weight of Clara's presence grew, clouds gathering in her mind once more. Sarah! Clara called, her voice cutting through the night like a knife, the reminder of everything she'd fought against loomed above her, casting a shadow on her bright moment. What would Clara do next? Would she shout her betrayal for everyone to hear? With a racing heart, Sarah faced her friend determinedly, the festive laughter fading into the background. Would she stand her ground, or would Clara's words pull her back into the confines of doubt? Sarah! Clara's voice rang again, echoing against the joyous clamor of the festival. It was sliced through the laughter, slicing into Sarah's moment of happiness. She instinctively squeezed Alex's hand, grounding herself against the rising tide of uncertainty. What does she want? Alex asked, a flicker of protective anger in his eyes. I don't know, Sarah whispered, her stomach twisting. The laughter around them felt distant now, swallowed by Clara's presence. Steeling herself, Sarah took a step forward. Clara, do you really think this is okay? Clara interrupted, storming closer. You're just going to throw away everything we've built? For him? Sarah's mind raced. Thoughts tangled like a nest of unwound yarn. Was she throwing things away or building something new? Clara, I'm not throwing anything away, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. This is my life. I want to live it. Her gaze darted back to Alex, who stood behind her, his expression both encouraging and concerned. Is he the answer? Clara shot back, her tone cutting. What is so special about him? He is just some guy. A wave of anger and tenderness surged through Sarah. He is someone who makes me feel alive. You don't understand. I understand more than you think. Clara shot back. You're taking a leap of faith, but what if you fall? What if he lets you down? In that instant, Sarah reflected on how often she had lived in the shadow of Clara's fears, letting them shape her actions. But she had seen firsthand what it felt like to reclaim her joy. The exhilaration of the slide rushed back to her, a reminder that, sometimes, the leap was worth it. You're right, Sarah said, her voice low but firm. I don't know what is going to happen. But I want to find out for myself. She turned the full force of her gaze on Clara. Not through your expectations. The crowd around them shifted, some faces turning away, others fascinated by the unfolding drama. Sarah could feel the world holding its breath, lost in the tension. Clara's face shifted, anger morphing into something softer, tinged with concern. I just don't want you to get hurt. I care about you. The fight left her voice, replaced with the vulnerability of a friend who felt lost. I know you care, Sarah replied gently, her heart aching for the fractures in their friendship. But I need to take this chance. If you can't support that, the sentence lingered in the air like an unfinished song, the truth too harsh to sing out loud. Just then, Alex stepped in beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. Clara, this isn't about us versus you. Let Sarah choose her path. She deserves that. For the first time, Clara seemed to notice Alex's presence fully, her eyes narrowing a bit more. The implication of his words hung there, a fragile thread connecting past and present. I guess we'll see what kind of path you're really choosing, Clara replied, her tone still sharp but lost within a mix of fear and frustration. As she turned away, Sarah felt her heart lighten and heavy all at once. It felt like an opening, a chance for a new beginning. Are you okay? Alex asked softly, concern lacing his voice as they watched Clara walk away. I think so, Sarah said, drawing a deep breath. I just need time. But you stood your ground, Alex said, pride shimmering in his eyes. That's huge. Yeah, she replied, reflecting on the surge of courage she had finally allowed herself to tap into. Just as she began to feel the warmth of victory, a realization hit her. She still had to face her own uncertainties, her own fears. And Clara's words echoed in her mind. What if there was a fall waiting in her leap? Still, there was light ahead, bright and beckoning. With Alex at her side, could she keep taking those leaps? Let us go get something sweet to eat, she suggested, trying to shake off the weight of the confrontation. Sounds great. What do you want? But before she could answer, a loud crash echoed through the festival. Heads turned and gasps spread as a booth toppled over, spilling colorful prizes across the ground. What was that? Sarah exclaimed, her heart racing anew. Amidst the chaos, she felt a rush. Was this another moment where she had to make a choice? Let's check it out. Alex said, excitement in his eyes. As they moved through the crowd, Sarah realized that the evening was far from over. In this unpredictable garden of chaos, new choices awaited. Would they lead to more leaps? What if the next one changed everything? The crowd surged around them, a wave of curiosity pulling Sarah and Alex towards the fallen booth. As they pushed through, Sarah felt the wild energy of the festival return, the sound of laughter and music wrapping around her like a warm embrace. But deep down, a flicker of apprehension still burned. Would all this chaos lead to something meaningful, or was it just another distraction? They reached the wreckage, a scatter of plush toys and colorful trinkets now mingling with the grass. A few festival-goers were helping the booth owner, their laughter still a balm against the tension. Alex leaned in to inspect the mess, but it was Sarah's eyes that caught something else. A little girl standing off to the side, her face scrunched up in confusion and sadness. Hey, come on, let us help them, she said, pointing to the child. Alex nodded, and they approached together. The little girl clutched a deflated balloon dog, tears threatening to spill over. But I wanted that unicorn, she murmured, her voice barely above the festival's uproar. Sarah crouched down to the child's eye level, her heart aching at the lost hope. Hey, I bet we can find you something even better, she said, offering a soft smile. What if we look together? The girl's eyes brightened a little. You really think? Absolutely. How about you help me find the prettiest toy here? Sarah offered. As they started sifting through the scattered prizes, Alex picked up a plush unicorn that had landed nearby. With a grin, he handed it to Sarah. What about this? Sarah held it out for the girl, who took it wide-eyed. Can I really have it? Of course. Just like that, it's all yours, Sarah said, her own smile now huge. At that moment, Sarah felt a rush of joy spreading through her. This simple act of kindness, this spontaneous moment, connected her to something much larger than herself. It echoed the leap she had taken with Alex. Thank you. Thank you. The little girl hugged the unicorn tight, her previous sadness disappearing like a drizzle under the sun. As the crowd resumed its normal pace, Sarah turned to Alex, who watched her with an expression she had never seen before. Pride? Affection? Something deeper. You're amazing, you know that? He said, his voice low and sincere. A warmth spread through her, igniting a flicker of something she had only just begun to explore: her own sense of agency, her ability to impact the world around her. Suddenly, from somewhere behind them, laughter erupted. Clara returned, weaving through the festival-goers like a flame, her expressions shifting from one of irritation to mild surprise as she saw Sarah with the child. What's this? You've come to save the day, Superwoman. There was a sharpness in her tone, but an underlying curiosity too. If helping a child means that much, then, maybe, Sarah said with determination, surprising herself with her own conviction. Clara's demeanor softened, the antagonism peeling away layer by layer. "I'm sorry for earlier. I just worry," she admitted, glancing at the little girl, now twirling with delight. "That's okay, Clara," Sarah replied. "We're all learning here." But just as that moment of reconciliation blossomed, the sounds of the festival shifted. Shouts grew louder, but this time, they were not echoes of joy. A scuffle broke out near the food stand, cutting through the festive atmosphere like a knife. "What is happening?" Alex breathed, his eyes darting to the unfolding scene. "Let us go," Sarah said, adrenaline pumping through her veins. They moved as one, weaving through the crowd, the promise of vulnerability intermingled with the urge to protect what they had just started to build. As they reached the edge of the chaos, Sarah's heart raced. This was a new kind of leap, and she had no idea where it would land her. Would her instincts lead them to safety, or into deeper turmoil? With her breath hitching slightly, she felt the weight of the moment crashing in. What if facing this challenge was the next step in her journey towards independence and love? Why did it feel so imperative to make this choice? And there, amidst the turmoil, in the heart of the festival, something within Sarah stirred. The evening was turning. Would it spin her life in a direction she had never anticipated? Pushing through the throngs of festival-goers, Sarah's senses flared. The clash of voices, the smell of fried food mingling with cotton candy, and the rhythmic throb of music created an overwhelming backdrop for the chaos unfolding ahead. She felt Alex's south hand close around her wrist, steady and reassuring as they surged closer to the scene. "Stay close," he urged, his brow furrowed with concern. The scuffle had escalated, two men jostling aggressively near the food stand, anger etched into every line of their faces. A crowd gathered, some drawn by curiosity, others by concern. Alex's grip tightened, Sarah could feel the tension radiating off him. "Maybe we should go back," Clara suggested, but her voice was laced with uncertainty. "No," Sarah said, feeling a surge of resolve flood through her. "We can't just turn away. Someone might get hurt." With her heart racing, she pushed forward, and Alex followed closely behind. The scene loomed larger, voices rising and falling like a storm brewing over the festival. One man stumbled back, brushing against a cart and sending a precarious tower of drinks crashing to the ground. Ice and soda sprayed everywhere, further igniting the chaos around them. "Someone needs to intervene," Sarah said, the weight of the moment pressing upon her chest. "If we can at least break it up, okay, let us do it," Alex replied, his voice firm but laced with apprehension. As they neared the fray, adrenaline surged through Sarah, fueling a fierce determination. She could feel the collective eyes of the crowd upon them, a mix of anticipation and dread. Stepping closer, she raised her voice, trying to penetrate the howling tempest of anger. "Hey! Let us all calm down. This isn't the place for this." The words hung in the air, halting the men for a moment. They turned, confusion flashing across their faces. In that instant, it felt as if time slowed down. Sarah held her breath, the eyes of onlookers boring into her with a mix of hope and disbelief. "Look around," she added, gesturing to the families and children in attendance. "This isn't what any of us came here for." The tension cracked, just enough for the men to blink and refocus, aware of the sound of laughter and music still echoing around them. That flicker of humanity sparked a pause. "I'm not afraid of you," one of the men shouted back, but his voice wavered slightly. Sarah's heart pounded as the chaos swirled, every moment a heartbeat away from bursting into something worse. She felt Alex shift closer, his presence an anchor. Clenching her fists, she embarked on the next step, fueled by a sudden conviction. What if we resolve this like adults? Why not talk it out instead of fighting? The crowd noticed her plea, murmurs rippling through the onlookers. Sarah felt a wave of hope wash over her. Maybe this moment, this leap into uncharted territory could really lead to change. The men exchanged another glance. A pause. Then, just as the tension began to ebb, a voice from the back of the crowd shouted, "Let us move it along. This is supposed to be fun." The words hit like a jolt, reigniting the volatile atmosphere. Tensions laced with frustration flared again, and the men surged toward each other once more, fists at the ready. "Alex!" Sarah yelled, panic welling up. He was already moving forward, a fierce protectiveness ignited within him as he stepped into the fray, ready to shield her from the brewing storm. "Stop! You don't need to do this," he called out, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. In that moment, as Sarah watched him stand for what was right, she felt a fierce connection spark anew, a realization that they were both in this together. They were learning, growing, fighting for something bigger than themselves, but what would happen when the anger erupted once more? What consequences lingered just at the edge of the festival's vibe? Would they be the calm amidst the storm, or would the evening unfold in ways neither of them could foresee? Sarah's heart raced as she tried to assess the situation. The energy crackled between the two men, anger was palpable and unpredictable. She could feel the crowd holding its breath, collectively uncertain of what next. "Come on," Alex urged, stepping further into the chaos. "You need to walk away." "Why should we? You think you can just tell us to stop?" One of the men growled, fists clenching. The frustration in his voice was a knife, sharp and quick to hurt. "Because this isn't worth it," Alex replied, his voice steady despite the rising tension. "This place is supposed to be about fun. You know that, right?" For a fleeting moment, doubt flickered in the opponent's eyes, and Sarah seized that second. "Exactly. Look around. Families are watching. Kids are scared. This isn't what we want." The other man, smaller yet fierce, clenched his jaw. "What do you know about it?" he spat, challenging them both. "Enough to know this ends now," Alex said. Sarah caught a subtle shift in his posture, every muscle tense and ready, a living wall of strength that in a heartbeat. The world seemed to narrow down to just the four of them amidst the chaos of the festival. Sarah felt her breaths quickening, her pulse thrumming in her ears. A glance back to Clara revealed her friend biting her lip in worry, the tension in the air infecting the mood around them. Then, as if to upend the moment, a child's cry echoed in the background, sharp, fragile. It broke her focus and she turned. A little girl, no more than 6, stood beside a cotton candy stand, tears streaming down her cheeks as she watched the spectacle before her. That sight pulled at something deep within Sarah. "Look!" She turned back to the men, her voice shaking but fierce. "Look at her. She's afraid. Is this what you want? To scare a child?" The larger man hesitated, eyes flickering toward the girl. For the briefest second, Sarah sensed that he might choose to step back. But before anything could change, the frustrated shout burst forth once more from the other man, "Shut up. You don't know." "Maybe not," she said, her voice steadying with resolve, "but I do know people can change. Right now, you still have a choice." The atmosphere shifted again. Sarah felt it like a wave. She took a deeper breath, grounding herself in the moment. "You know what? We're all human here. We all get angry, but we don't have to act on it. We can work together instead." Just then, Alex stepped closer, not blocking her but standing side by side, creating a united front. "We believe there's a better way, man. Look back at your life and tell me you've never wanted a second chance." As the words hung in the air, Sarah saw an emotion flit across the larger man's face, vulnerability intermingled with anger, fear seeped into the cracks of his bravado. She witnessed the moment of choice unspool before them like a delicate thread, each decision weighty. Were they on the verge of change, or would it all come crashing down when someone lost their nerve? Just as silence started to swallow the gathered crowd, a loud horn blared from a nearby ride, snapping everyone back to life as applause erupted. But within that moment of distraction, Sarah spotted Clara reaching for someone in the crowd. "Sarah! Over here!" Clara yelled, excitement lacing her tone. A face from within the crowd caught Sarah's eye, a familiar smile from someone she never expected to see at the festival that night. What had she just stumbled into? What new twist awaited them all? Sarah's heart raced for a completely different reason now. The familiar figure weaving through the crowd, dodging excited festival-goers, sent a rush of memories surging through her like the fireworks that lit up the night sky above. It was Jake, a face she hadn't seen in years, yet one that had left an undeniable mark on her heart. "Jake?" she whispered, half in disbelief and half in hope. His brow looked furrowed with uncertainty, but as their eyes locked, his expression melted into a warm smile. It felt like sunshine cutting through clouds, brightening everything around her. "Sarah! I had no idea you were here." He shouted over the noise, his voice laced with pure joy that made her feel lighter, more alive. In a split second, the chaos from moments before faded into the background. The two men, the anxious crowd, even the crying child seemed to dissolve into the backdrop. Nothing mattered but Jake and their shared history. That as he reached her, Sarah felt an overwhelming urge to sweep the past away. In a heartbeat, the anger, fear, and aggression of earlier felt trivial, almost laughable. They would always have their bittersweet past, a story of missed chances and unspoken words, but in that instant, it seemed like all those years had simply paved a path back to this moment. "Clara told me you'd be here," Jake continued, eyes glinting with excitement. For the first time that night, Sarah felt solid ground beneath her feet. "I can't believe it's really you," she replied, laughter bubbling up, the hopeless tension leaving her body like a deflating balloon. She noticed the two men had stepped back, their confrontation seemingly forgotten as their attention was redirected to the unlikely reunion. "Listen, can we talk? Like really talk?" Jake's gaze grew serious, and in that moment, Sarah caught a flicker of vulnerability. The kind of honesty that had always drawn her to him but also terrified her. "Definitely," she said, surprised at how quickly she agreed. "But I need to handle the situation over there first." She nodded toward the still confrontational men, whose heated whispers were growing low but still tense. "I'm coming with you," Jake insisted, stepping forward. "You don't have to deal with this alone." Before Sarah could protest, he was already beside her, a grounding presence. Together they approached the brewing storm, and the crowd parted slightly, murmurs swirling about the unexpected twist in the air. "Hey, listen," Jake called out, capturing the attention of the men. "We're not here for a fight. This is a family festival. Look around." The men, momentarily distracted from their impending confrontation, turned to survey the still worried crowd. The weight of their anger still flickered beneath the surface, but there was a glimmer of hesitation in their eyes, as if they were being pulled apart from the bleakness of their earlier emotions. Sarah took a deep breath. "You can choose," she urged, "to walk away and find something better." The larger man looked from Sarah to Jake, and there was again the flicker of vulnerability looping back into doubt. That critical moment hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. Behind her, Clara watched with wide eyes, holding her breath as if the world itself awaited the answer. Just as the tension pulsed around them, the smaller man broke the silence, his voice thick with confusion. "What if there is no better?" Sarah's stomach dropped. The question hung there, raw and real. How would they respond? It was at that moment, as they stood on the edge of change, that the festival lights seemed to dim, pulling the focus tighter, testing their resolve. Would the men find the courage to listen or to walk away? Jake squeezed her hand, anchoring her amidst the uncertainty. Sarah's eyes darted to his, searching for reassurance. Would they move forward together? The atmosphere felt electric with potential, every heartbeat a reminder of the choices that lay before them all. And then, as silence draped over the crowd once more, a shout erupted from the back, a voice they all recognized. "Sarah! You need to see this." A turn of heads came in unison, and just as the chaos began to shift again, she thought, What else could possibly happen now? The crowd parted as Sarah turned towards the voice, panic and curiosity merging within her. It was Lily, face alight with excitement, darting through the festival goers with a teddy bear nearly as big as her. The plush toy bounced against her as she rushed, drawing every eye, even those of the men teetering on the brink of violence. "Mom! Look what I won!" Lily's voice rang out, echoing with pure, unfiltered joy. The moment she dove into Sarah's arms, the weight of doubt lifted, the world redefined through the prism of her daughter's innocent exhilaration. All at once, the tension that had clung to Sarah, a spiderweb of fear and expectation, began to dissolve, unspooling like cotton candy in the wind. The two men paused, glancing from the uproar to the tableau of joy in front of them. A little girl with a bear, a mother embracing her daughter, and standing resolutely, Jake and Alex, ready to guide. The disarming cuteness of it all shifted something in the air, softening hardened hearts. "Maybe we can be better," one of the men said hesitantly, confusion overtaking resentment. The other nodded slowly, stepping back from the brink of conflict. This simple moment, a child's happiness, echoed like a drumbeat of reason against the discord. Sarah felt a renewed fire ignite within her, not just for her own choices, but as a cascade of hope reaching out to the world around her. "See?" She spoke through the overwhelming warmth in her chest. "Even when it's tempting to let anger win, there's always a better way." The men exchanged glances, shadows of comprehension crossing their features, and as if a chain had broken, the tension began to dissipate. "Sorry, we shouldn't have," one of them started, looking at the crowd witnessing their struggle. "It wasn't right." Lily, still wrapped in her mother's embrace, quietly echoed, "Yeah. Let us just have fun." A ripple of laughter gathered momentum into the air, infectious and liberating. Sarah felt Alex and Jake step closer, their hands gently laced around her waist, a silent vow imbuing their space, a declaration that they were here to stay. The crowd began to cheer lightly, the celebratory ambience coming back to life as if nothing had happened, a tapestry of love reminding everyone to hold on to joy and connection amid storms. Clara, standing slightly apart, finally stepped forward, her brow relaxed as she observed the transformation. "Sarah, I misjudged this whole thing. It's good to see you and Lily, even with everything," she admitted, her voice trailing off with an honest softness. There was a new clarity between them, bridging the gaps of friendship strained by judgments. The conversation flowed. Together, they united in simple acts of kindness, lending a hand to the festival with laughter and camaraderie. Alex and Jake shared an easy banter, drawing Sarah in, weaving a narrative of support that anchored them together. "Let us celebrate," Alex declared, a contagious smile forcing its way to Sarah's lips. He scooped Lily up, holding her high as they spun around. The girl shrieked with delight, a sound cutting through the night bright as any firework. As the night wore on, Sarah realized something monumental. She no longer felt like a puppet in a play dictated by others. In every exchanged laughter and every heartfelt embrace, she found her power. The world was big, and while there were hurdles ahead, the choices made tonight had forged connections deeper than either of her companions or Clara had anticipated. They had built a refuge, woven from love and hope, expanding beyond the narrow definitions of right and wrong dictated by small-town whispers, and just then, amidst the sparkle of tiny lights painting the darkness, a thought drifted into Sarah's mind. This moment, this entire journey, was more than just self-discovery, it was about rediscovering the beauty of being alive. Wrapped in love and acceptance. As they watched fireworks light the sky, Sarah grasped Alex's hand tightly. Her decision was solidified in that very instance. "Let us keep taking leaps together," she whispered, a radiant smile blooming across her face. As if the universe answered, the colors above swirled, bathing them in a radiant glow, sealing their new beginning. In that moment, surrounded by laughter, love, and firm resolve, they stepped boldly into the still unfurling story of their lives. Sarah knew now, in the deepest corners of her heart, they were ready to face whatever the world had to throw at them, not just as individuals, but together, as a family. So if you felt that sense of transformation tonight, don't wait another second. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey. Remember, only true fans understand how vital your engagement is in keeping this community alive.